So here we are. This is the second video for I'm Just a Lancashire Bloke. And anybody who watched my first one, I did say on that we'd do the second one and talk about something glaringly obvious to some, which is my weight loss. So this isn't a video naturally about weight loss. It's also a video about how I'd got sick of the person who I was but didn't realise it. So I've decided to do this video because people just generally in life and on social media have noticed the difference, because I'm constantly posting pictures of myself now, right? And they'll ask. So, you know, people I meet through work, in the social aspect. Again, I was doing the DGR at the weekend, and people that I haven't seen for over a year were commenting, and people are interested of like, have you done it? And I think they're interested in have you done it because secretly inside they're thinking, I could do that too. And let's be honest, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? It's as simple as that. But what I'm going to talk about all the way through this, to sum it all up before we even get to the end, is this is what worked for me. I'm not saying this will work for you or for anyone else. But if you can take away little bits of it, and if any of it resonates with you and I can help you in any way, leave a comment, reach out, message me privately, and if I can give you any advice from where I am right now, I will do. So what actually made me think enough was enough? Well, it's quite strange really that so back in 12 months ago now, in May, April, May, I was laying in bed one night, coughed, and I felt something pop out, right, of my belly button, physically pop out, and I had to physically push it back in, and I thought that's not good. So I did what most of us don't do and went to the doctors, got it checked out, and it was an umbilical hernia, and they told me it was my bladder that was popping out and it needed sorting because it could get strangulated and everything else. So if anybody's got anything like that going on, please go and get it checked out. It's better to find out. So I came away from that thinking, well, the first thing they're going to tell me is I need to lose weight. And I might as well start now whilst I'm waiting for the consultation to come through. So I then made that decision of like, right, let's do something about it. And I've tried in the past and failed miserably. So when I decided that I was going to do something, the first thing I did was, like anybody else, get on Google, right? And I'd heard all about the fat jabs, and there's a big thing about the fat jabs and everything else. So I did my research. That's a cliche of the 21st century, right? So I went away and looked at it and looked at the different options and decided that I was going to go with Mounjaro. And the reason I chose Mounjaro was literally because it wasn't anything else, not like, oh, it's got less side effects, so it does this. When I looked at it, it was, this does two things in your brain, and that Wegovy or Ozempic or whatever, it does one, right, the GLP-1. So I'm like, well, I'll get the one that does two because it's going to be better, right? So I decided I was going to go for Mounjaro. I also realised that I just did not have the willpower and the get up and go and the gumption and everything else to just do it on my own. I needed some kind of crutch to rely on. I'll be honest about it. And that's why I decided I was going to go for the fat jab. So I did a little bit more checking, decided I was going to go for the ASDA Online one. Again, not giving anybody any support and saying, no, you should use this, you should use that. I used ASDA because it were easier and convenient. So I decided I'm going to use the ASDA Online one. You go online, you fill out a medical questionnaire and take a few photos of yourself stood there with your belly out looking fat, which I'll put the picture on, which is not pretty, and pictures of you on scales, send it all off, and then a doctor approves that and says, yeah, you're right, you are fat. The cost of it, I was going to go away and look through my emails to see, all right, yeah, you paid this, you paid that, you paid that. And I thought, no, I'm not doing that because I've got it roughly in my head. it cost me approximately £1,000 to have the injections. I think it started off, it was about £100 a month, but every month you go up a dose. Now for me, it was unfortunate that at the time I started back in June, I started on Mounjaro, but then it was all kicking off in the States of they weren't charging enough and Trump had got involved, so they put Eli Lilly put the prices up, and then there started being a mad dash, people were bulk buying. So I think I'd been on it 2-3 months and I couldn't get the next level because there was none available, so I had 2 months at the same level, but it were working and I was losing, so that was good. But I had to make a choice then of, do I carry on paying them extortionate prices? Because I think when I looked at it in the end, it would have gone up to something like 300 quid a month, and I just weren't prepared to pay that. So I then switched to Wegovy and got in line, went again online with ASDA and said, I need to switch. I can't afford to keep paying that, and Wegovy was a lot cheaper. So I switched to Wegovy. What they did do was drop me down a couple of levels, so I wasn't on the weekly equivalent. So it was not almost like starting again, but it did sort of drop it down a little. And I did notice that I personally found that Mounjaro was the better one for the diet suppression and everything else, and Wegovy you had to work at a little bit more. But we'll get on to how that's actually worked out a good thing. So yeah, so the overall cost was about £1,000, right? But if somebody came up to you today and said, give me £1,000 and in 12 months time you'll go from this to this, you do it, right? The other thing about the cost is it seems a lot, it seems excessive, but break it down like this. An average, 12 months ago, an average evening would have been, it gets to around whatever time and I finish work, come out the Pallet Palace and I go in and I say, oh, have you had anything to eat, love you, anything? No, I can't be bothered, there's only the two of us. Oh, shall we get a takeaway? Right? And people watching this video, you'll resonate because we do it all the time. Oh, we'll just get a takeaway instead. So you get your takeaway out, you go on Uber Eats or whatever it might be, and you put a couple of things in the basket and then, oh, I'll just get a couple of extras as well. And before you know it, you're spending 30-40 quid on a takeaway. You do that 3 or 4 times, well, say 3 times a week, and it's 30 quid a pop. That's 90 quid a week. That's 270 quid a month just in takeaways alone, and you don't even realise you're doing it. So I saved money on takeaways because I stopped buying takeaways. The other one was the alcohol. So again, we'll go on to that with the next question. Side effects. On both Wegovy and Mounjaro, I can't say I actually suffered any side effects that's of note. There was nothing that I can think of was an actual side effect. Other than the weirdest one to explain was I quit drinking, right? I've stopped. I haven't stopped drinking, but I've stopped the routine of drinking. Again, I'd order my takeaway and then maybe I'd have a couple of cans of an evening, or a couple of whiskies or whatever it might be. And that was just become the routine, because it's not like I was drinking to get drunk, because I weren't getting drunk. I was just, that's what I did. So for some, I don't know how or why or whatever, but I have seen that other people have had a similar sort of thing. It just took away that want, that need, and I just stopped drinking. And now and again I'll have a can, but now I've stopped. I'm not having a can for a different reason, because I'll look at it and go, how many calories in it? Oh, I'm not having it because I don't really need it. What's the point of having one? I'll just not bother. But if I'm going to go out drinking or out socially, then I'll still drink, and now and again, and I've still got all the whiskies up there, and now and again I'll have, oh, I just fancy one. But yeah, I've quit drinking. Not teetotal, I've just sort of stopped. So that was a side effect. How has it changed me? it's changed me massively in every aspect of my life that I didn't realise at the time when I decided I was going to do something about my weight, that it'd have these sort of effects. So what I realise now, looking back, is this is what had happened. I'd get up in the morning, go for a shower, walk into the dressing room, and we've got big full-length mirrors. So as I'm getting my clothes out that I'm going to wear for the day, I'm stood there in front of a full-length mirror, naked, hating what I see, and then hating myself for not doing something about it, and hating myself for allowing myself to get to that stage. So it already brought my mood down for the day. And then you're starting that day badly, and you start then looking for other reasons to be negative, when the true negativities come straight away from my own, not disgust, but just not being happy about how I was looking and how I'd allowed myself to get to that. And we also get to that stage of, I've said before in my previous, I'm 55-year-old. We get to that sort of age and we sort of just accept it, that it's how we are, right? We get to that sort of age and we do have a belly and we do this and we have done that, and you jokingly, you'll go, oh, it's all paid for, but deep down inside, you're not happy with it. I wasn't happy with myself. And what it also allowed me to do was, the great thing about the jab was it allowed me to reset my relationship with food. I had a bad relationship with food that I didn't realise. And I think that stems all the way back from my childhood. Growing up as a child, I mean, I was a skinny lad. I was like this sort of size, right? Probably a bit small when I first got married. So, in my late teens, early 20s, I was like this size. And then it just started piling on. But as a child, I can recall, looking back now, that, my mum would put my plate down and it were, you eat what's on your plate, you won't waste anything. There's kids starving in Africa and all that stuff, right? You get hot-housed into eat what's on your plate. Whether you're full or not, you will eat it. And then you have kids and you take the kids out and you go, and you might go into a cafe or a McDonald's or whatever, and you sit there and you pay out all your hard-earned cash for all this food, and you're not leaving that. I'll have it, right? You won't waste anything because you've had this drummed into you. It's wrong to be wasteful, so you'll eat it. So one of the things I have learned now is I can actually leave something on my plate. I can say, yeah, I've had enough. There you go. I don't need to eat anymore. I do put out smaller portions now. So the whole relationship that I've got with food has changed completely, because now I treat it as a fuel to fuel my body. And if I'm sat out here all day not really doing much, I don't need that much fuel. So the calories that I need to consume aren't what I was doing. And that's another thing that's changed. Now I'm actually looking at the nutrients. So I walk around doing the shopping and going back to the cost thing. Shopping's a lot cheaper now, right? Because I'll pick something up, I'll look at it and I'll go, is it really worth me eating that and undoing everything that I've done? No. So I'll put it back on the shelf, because if I buy it and it's in the cupboard and I think, oh, I'll just treat myself and I'll have that, I'll eat it, right? If it's there and you're bored or whatever, and you open them cupboards and that stuff's there, you're going to eat it. If it's not in the house, you can't eat it. It's simple as. Now, it's easy for me because there's only me and her, right? But in saying that, she'll still have her stuff in, and I just have to, no, leave it alone. So all of that relationship with food, that's changed for me. One of the other things that's changed is my actual outlook on life in general now. I don't just meander through. I've given myself a routine where I get up in the morning, and then I'll have a coffee, then I take Whitney for a walk, and then I get back and I have a shower, and then I get dressed, and then I do this, and then I do that, and then I start work. And then I was really bad for, I'd grab something to eat and eat at my desk. Whereas now I've got into that routine of like, no, I'm taking a break during the day and getting up and moving away from the desk, and I'll go and take Whitby out for another quick walk, right? We just have a 10-15 minute walk, and I'll use that as my lunch break and then come back and it refresh. And I've also realised that that allows me to think about things. So if I'm stuck on a problem with work or thinking about what to do with it, rather than just sitting there and letting it get on top of me, I get up and walk around and then come back to that problem. And that's helped. And same again of an evening. It's right, it's got to a certain time, and right, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then I'll take Whitby for a walk. So it's helped me change my whole routine and how I do things, and it's made me a lot more positive. So that's another big change that's happened. The other one is I'm now getting exercise that I never did before. So we now regularly go and play paddle, right? And I'm no great paddle player, but I have fun. I enjoy it, and I'm playing paddle with my sons and my son-in-law. And you know, they're 20 years my junior, and I'm still running around the court, right? And I'm mockingly say I'm doing more running around than you lot are, and you know, I'm faster than you lot, and a lot in jest, but I can compete. I've recently gone out and got an e-bike. So I've got the motorbikes, but I thought, oh, well, I need to be getting some exercise, so I'll get an e-bike, right? Where I live, around Lancashire, it's really hilly and everything. There's no chance I'd have gone out on a push bike to start off with, because I just wouldn't have done it, all right? It's like, that balls to that. So I'll get the e-bike. Now I can jump on the e-bike and I can do 20 miles, and everybody's like, yeah, but that's because the bike's doing it for you. Just like people say about, and that's because the jab's doing it for you. No, it's not. So the e-bike that I've got, it has different power levels. I put it in power level 1. It's fully road legal, which means it cuts out at 15 miles an hour. So you're doing a lot of the work and it's just assisting you. But then when you get to the likes of Pendle Hill, and anybody who knows Pendle Hill, right, it's a big steep hill, I can now pedal over Pendle Hill. And like I said, do a 20-mile circuit and come back, and I'm not dying the next day. And I'm getting out, I'm raising my heart, and I'm getting some exercise. So that's something I haven't done. I've recently started doing a bit of resistance training out here as well. Again, because losing weight, I don't want to completely lose all my muscle. I've lost a lot of bulk, and again, I'll put some pictures on probably as we're going through. So the mental bit, the physical bit, all of them things, the routine, you don't realise before you lose the weight of how them things are going to change, but they do. One of the other big changes as well is clothes. So before I lost the weight, I'd be one of those who I'd walk around the Lidl or the Aldi or the Tesco or whatever and go, I need a t-shirt, that'll do, right? And I've got this thing where I print my own t-shirts and make stuff up and whatever, or I need this, and I'll go to Prime, or I can get whatever. And I was wearing clothes that would cover me up, because I've had to completely replace my wardrobe twice, may I add, right? Now I actually enjoy going clothes shopping and trying clothes on and going, oh, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I'm looking I look quite good in that, right? So I mean, something else that I'm enjoying that I haven't enjoyed for a long time. I used to hate going and trying clothes on, because whatever I put on, it just didn't look right. So yeah, that was a bad one. But I have had to replace my wardrobe twice, because I lost a lot of weight, and I started at 38 waist and 48, 50 chest. I was a double XL, and then I dropped down to whatever size, so everything was too big. So I went and bought a load of 34 waists and a lot of large sizes. and then I've carried on losing. So like I say, I'm at the stage now where I'm in a 30 waist jean, which I've not been in for God knows how long. And I dare say I could actually fit in a 28, right? I wear a 30 with a belt, and I'm wearing medium to, and some, depends on which fit it is, small tops, right? So yeah, I've gone from a 2XL to a small, 38 to a 30, and I actually enjoy clothes again, which I was just like, yeah, that'll do, that'll do, that'll do, and I'll just wear something big and baggy and cover it up. Whereas now I don't want to. I want to wear something that shows off what I've done, right? So I will wear a fitted t-shirt, because why not? Why wouldn't I? Right? I've done all that hard work. So when did I start taking the jab? So I stopped taking the jab, I think it was around February. And what I did was I had my last dose of Wegovy, and then I was at the strongest dose, and I decided, right, that's it, I'm going to cut it off. I wasn't going to start coming back down and stay on it another 6 months, whittling myself down. But what I did do is, when you're on Mounjaro, there's like half a dose left in the EpiPen style thing, and I'd sort of saved them. So I think I had three, possibly four of them. So you inject yourself weekly. So I had a half dose of Mounjaro at the strongest, and then working my way down. So I had another, yeah, 3 weeks or so. So it was around the end of Feb that I stopped, and then that's when the fear sets in. That, okay, the jab was helping me, right? Because when I first started it, I had to remind myself to eat, and it was helping suppress my appetite, and it was taking away all that food noise. And I didn't just want to go and open a bag of crisps and open a bag of this. Whereas I'd thrown the crutches away. I was on my own. And I was hoping that over that period from June to February, I'd done enough that I'd changed my attitude with food, and I'd changed everything else, that I'd done enough that, right, I'm a big boy now. I've took my water wings off and I'm going swimming. Luckily for me, as I say, we're nearly at the end of May, and I've managed to maintain what I was doing, but also I've still managed to lose a little bit of weight. So I think I was 11.5 stone. In fact, I went to Mexico in March, after having the umbilical surgery, by the way, right? That actually took place. Forgot to mention that when I was on about the umbilical surgery right at the beginning, when I went to the consultant in around September time, they said, we can see you've already started losing weight, so we'll give you the operation. If you hadn't done, we would have told you to lose weight first. So I had the operation around March, had the umbilical hernia surgery, and I had that the day after I got back from Mexico. Don't start, right? Long story. So, yeah, when I'd got back from Mexico, I'd been on all inclusive, and again, because I was on holiday, but I still wasn't doing what I normally would have done. Go down for breakfast, pile it all on, make up as much of a full English as you can, and loads of bacon. I weren't doing that. I was still just having my avocado on toast or whatever. But I were eating more and drinking more. So I did put a few pounds on whilst I was on holiday, got a bit of holiday weight. So I think I'd got up to about 11:10 coming back off holiday, and after having the operation, we having to sit around doing nothing as well. And so with no jab, and just doing my routine and eating how I eat now, and looking at the calories and going, right, I'm not having this, and I'm going to keep myself to what I do. I managed to get rid of that 10 pound without the jab. So it just goes to show that, yes, the jab helps you, but it doesn't do it for you. It's not a magic bullet. It won't do it. And I've heard people go, oh, well, I've got a mate who's been on it and he's not lost any weight. All right, well, what's it? Yeah, well, I see him don't pub. Hang on, so he's still going to pub, and he's sinking, 10 pints every night, and going to pub 2 or 3 nights at a weekend, and It's like, you know, it's really calorific is beer, right? You might not be eating during the day, but you're still having that beer. You've got to play the game. If you're serious about it, the jab will help you as much as you need it to. But you've got to play the game, right? You've got to step up and go, I need to stop eating the crap that I eat and eat good. So what do I eat now? Well, if I go to the fridge right now, I've always got pink lady apples. I love pink lady apples now. A different story altogether. But if you've never tried a pink lady apple, you need to go and buy pink lady apples. They're much more expensive, but oh my God, there's something else, right? So pink lady apples, love a pink lady apple. I've always got strawberries. I've always got blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. I've got them in. So when I do want to have a snack or something sweet, I'll have a 10 cal jelly. So I'll get a jelly, which is 10 calories, throw a bit of fruit in there, maybe a spoonful of sorbet or a spoonful of green yogurt. Throw that in, gives you a nice big bowl full of sweetness, and you can eat that. I tend to, avoid the carbs where I can, not have chips as a side, and not eat so much bread. So just, watching what I eat with the carbs wise, and then just trying to concentrate on higher protein stuff like, fish and chicken. But again, you can still eat anything you want. Just realize, right, you're eating that, you're eating that, you're eating that. That's X amount of calories, that's X amount of this. So therefore, just limit it to that, or just limit it to one day. It's like, right, it's not like, it's Friday, so I can eat as much as I want until Monday and start again. But if that works for you, it works for you. I'm now in the fear zone, I call it, because I'm fearful that if I don't keep checking myself, I will allow myself to get back to where I were, and I never want to be where I was again. So, which is why I've set my goal at 10.5 stone, and nearly everybody I know is telling me that's way too low, way too low. What they don't realise is I probably will never achieve that 10.5. However, if I have a goal of 10.5 stone, whilst I'm working towards it, I'm not putting weight back on, right? So if I can maintain 11 stone where I am now, and I think I'm on about 18% body fat, if I can maintain them things now, whilst aiming for 10.5, and for the rest of my life I never reach 10.5, but I have that as a goal, then that'll help me achieve not putting weight back on. And it's just how I work, right? We're all wired differently, and it works for me. Same thing again as what works for me is I have to weigh myself every morning. It's not good advice, it's the wrong thing to do, but it works for me. I'll look at the scales and go, oh, whatever, and then you go, oh, well, no doubt we'll get comments of like, oh, that could be body weight, water weight, and this could be that, and that. I get all that. I understand all that. I'm not stupid. I'm just telling you what works for me. I get on the scales, I see the scales, I react, right? And it's working. Again, as I started this video, what I was saying is this works for me. I'm not telling you to do the same thing, and I'm not giving you advice of my way is the best way. It's just what works for me, and any of these little bits might help. Another thing that worked for me was I got an app called Snap Calorie, which allows you to take a picture of something and it'll estimate your calories, or you can actually take a picture of a barcode or whatever. But you start recording your meals, have a meal diary, so you realise what you're actually taking in, and you can look at over the day and then go, oh, actually, I've had 1,200 calories today, or I've had 1,600 calories today, or it gives you some kind of measure, because we don't do that, right? And you don't realise, I'll just grab a bag of crisps. When I grabbed a bag of crisps, it weren't just like a little bag of 20 odd grams. I'd grab a full family bag of crisps and eat the full lot. Bar of chocolate, I wouldn't just have a bar of chocolate, I'd have a big bar of chocolate. It's them little things like that. I still have my treats, but you just calm it down a little. Don't have them all the time. And actually think, oh, I fancy a treat. And as you read, do you really need it, right? That's where I've got to. And I wouldn't have got there not taking the jab. Well, hopefully I've covered off most of it, but please, if you've got any questions, stick them in the comments, and I will answer every single one of you, because there'll be about 6 people watch this video, so it's easy, right? And as I said again, you know, if you know me, reach out. If you want to, you can message me. That's another thing that surprised me, the amount of people that have private messaged me. So I've been putting pictures up on my Facebook of, hey, look at me now, hey, right? And you know, some people going, oh, you look fantastic, great. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for, the more I do that in my head, I won't go back, because then I'll be looking back at it and going, what, why you got there, don't allow yourself to get back, right? But the amount of people that are reaching out to me privately going, how did you get it? What have you done? How have you done this? How did you manage that? Where? Yeah. And it's almost like there's a shame to the fat jab as well, because there is that attitude out there of people going, oh, you don't need it. It's just dead simple, isn't it? Just eat less and move more. All right, great. If you can. What if you can't? And I'll put it like this. Obesity is an illness, just like any other, right? And they've now found a treatment for it. By accident, it came about, right? Just like most other medicines that they use. And if you can afford it, why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you use something that helps you achieve your goal? That's my take on it, right? I'm sure there'll be people commenting with negativity around that as well. It's what works for you. And if it works for you and it can change you as much as it's changed me, and do it, right? If you can do it without it, brilliant. If you've never been fat and overweight and obese, whatever you want to call it, you won't understand. People that have been or are do understand, and it's a bad spiral that you get stuck in as well. The only person that will change it though is you. I'm sounding like a motivational guru now, and I don't want to go down there. You're the only one who can change it. Nobody's going to do it for you. And the first bit, just like you're an alcoholic, is admitting you've got a problem. And once you admit you've got a problem, you can start doing something about it. And you don't realise you've got a problem until you start examining yourself and looking at why you've got a problem. Where are them problems coming from? So that's it. And sorry if it all come across as a bit preachy, because I didn't mean to, right? But I just thought I'd do a video on this is what I did to lose weight. I'm much happier in myself now, even though I still get lots of people going, oh, you've lost too much. Yeah, whatever. I didn't do this for you to look at. I did this for me, and I'm still working on it. I'm still a work in progress. Right, so that's it. I've got the second video out the way now. Once again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, because I've only got a few subscribers on here. Also, feel free to check out my Pom-Pom rides. I've just uploaded a recent video from the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, so there's a full video on there, so if you're into motorbikes or whatever, watch that one. And then I'm keeping this channel separate for non-motorbike related stuff. So I don't know what we're going to do next. I'll have to have a think about that, and we'll see whether anybody watches these videos or not. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that gubbins, and toodle pip, tatty bye, TCFN. We'll see you again.